Well, hang on a second. Jeez. Okay, Patrick, I think we can see you. Well, hang on a second.
We got Matty J back in frame.
We do. All right, I want to just share this to the Facebook. Okay, Patrick, I think we can see you. All right. It's the first time we're doing it, so give us a second. You guys see it on Facebook? So on YouTube?
I can see on YouTube, yeah. I just clicked on that link on the top right, top left corner.
Yeah, we're on YouTube, boys.
Yeah, let's get into it, guys. All right. Welcome to Car Talk Sunday Kickback. It's me, Matty J, in online with Patrick Nehmer and Mr. Alam Singh, who doesn't have a camera today. How are you going, gentlemen?
Too bad. Not too bad. Yourself?
Not too bad, mate. Can't complain. Living the dream, my friend. Living the dream. Alam, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing all right, but a little worried, Matty. You've been road body a couple of times there. I'm a bit afraid that streaming to YouTube is running too much of your bandwidth, possibly.
Am I got a bit of lag, am I?
Yeah, you got that robot voice a couple of times, but you're all right for now. So let's keep it running.
Good. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. So is it first time on YouTube's for the Sunday Kickback? We're moving into a new world, gentlemen. That is very technological based now. If that makes sense.
Yeah, we'll be the pioneers of the metaverse, with virtual cars and something. We'll do our first show eventually in VR or something.
We'll get there one day.
Well, once we get the Car Talk HQ, the proper HQ with a podcasting zone, then we'll do like a VR chat. It'll be great.
That'd be sick. That should be cool. 100%.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. But anyway, John, how are we going? Patrick's been a while since we had you on the show. What's happening in your world, my friend?
Nothing much, man. My car's been the same. Just driving to work and back. Haven't run into any issues. I did service about 2 months a while ago. Still need to get new tires for it, but besides that, man, yeah, she's still running strong, still going, doing wonders. So yeah, no complaints there.
When the cop pulls you over, just say they're legal, they're semi slicks.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It was just the front anyway, so I switched them back to the rears, but it's got a bad alignment because it's eating on the on the outer side of the wall of the tire.
Yeah.
So it definitely needs to get that aligned and checked ASAP. But but besides that, like did brakes on it as well, and she's going good.
You'd be surprised how much an alignment changes a car. Like it really can make or break a car in terms of how the car feels on the road and everything. It actually makes such a difference. So if you definitely get it aligned, take it to a good alignment shop that can do that for you. You will notice you'll be like, far out, the car drives so much better.
Yeah, definitely. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. When I had an old car and I got that aligned with the tires on it, it's like it feels like a whole different car. So yeah, definitely very underrated.
Absolutely. I think it's one of the best things you can do. But you were saying you finally got an S15.
Yeah, so my mates came past yesterday and finally obtained my dream car. Much smaller version, 124 scale, but that's straight from Japan. And yeah, no, loving it. But still obviously still in the market. I've even been looking at Ortex, so the NA 15s that came from Japan, the same power output as a turbo models, and obviously here they're a lot cheaper than a turbo model.
Yeah.
So whereas the current prices here in Australia for a turbo model, whether it's Australian delivered or Japanese delivered, you're looking anywhere between 40 to 50 grand.
Wow.
And I've seen a few Ortex pop up from around say 25 to 27, which in my
are they that much now?
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so it looks still expensive, but at the same time, it's not so much that it'd be stupid for me, a 21-year-old, to blow that much money. Like I think that's still, pretty safe. Hopefully now I don't say this. I say this now, then all of a sudden tomorrow the whole Ortex will jump up to 40, 50 grand. With the power of YouTube now. But I'm looking into that. But because I do plan on getting a car at the end of this year, if not early next year.
Yep.
So obviously the Sylvia is still always on my heart. But at the same time, I'm always in the mindset as if I see something as with a good bargain, I won't hesitate as well to look into it, something else differently. But yeah, that's pretty much car updates. I'm just pretty much just on the look now for anything. I was almost tempted, actually. Sorry, the couple of weeks ago, I was going to buy a 31 Skyline.
Ooh.
Manual 31 Skyline, S13 front end conversion, suspension wise, sunroof, manual as well. It was asking $3 grand or something like that, which is cheap for a 31,
cheap
considering the current prices. And I was gonna message him after. I was gonna go see it after work and everything, but I don't know. It's just a part of me is like, don't do it, because I get off my P's in next year in March.
Yeah.
So it's like, just if I could just save my money a bit more, and then by the time I'm off my P's, I can have something turbo or whatever, something better than a 31. As much as I love them, so that's probably why I pulled out. But definitely, like, they're like cheap cars are out there. Like there are still cheap Japanese classics you can pick up. Very hard, very rare, but they're out there. You just gotta keep looking, man, every day. It's painful. I've been doing it for so long, but they're out there. If you keep looking, you're bound to run into.
Absolutely. As I said to you from day on, something will come up, and you'll be like, you know what? Yes, I'm glad I waited. This is the car for me. This is the one I want. Wow, it's here. But I mean, sometimes there's things you just got to jump on. But manual 31, was it running and everything, or was it?
So supposedly it was running. Had a brand new heavy duty clutch fit in. No roadie. I think it had some reg on it. It was lowered on coilovers and stuff, but yeah, apparently it was running. Standard RB30E motor. So supposedly it was a complete car, and I was shocked for it was selling it for such a low price. So who knows? Maybe if I did went to see the car, maybe the motor could have been knocking, or the gearbox could have been gone, or there was damage. I don't know. I don't know, but regardless, for a full running manual 31, like $3 grand, that's pretty cheap, because now
Absolutely.
you're looking at probably 12, 13 grand for a manual one.
Absolutely.
Which is absolutely stupid.
I saw somebody trying to sell an automatic for 15.
Oh,
It wasn't even in good condition.
Oh, dude.
Things are pretty crazy.
See, 31s are really hard to gauge. I mean, Alan, we were talking about this, a few weeks ago at a wedding. A friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, bought one, and he bought a manual wagon that's got, as we know, has got no compression and stuff. We mentioned it on the show, but like he was saying, he bought it cheap, but then they kind of just in price. There's no real kind of inverted commas guide, for what where they should be at, because they're kind of all over the shop. I've never seen a car that's so few and far between. Like you can get them for like $500 and you can get them for like 20 grand. and that's not even including like silhouettes and GDSs. So why do you think that is with the 31, Alan? Like I'm just confused. Like I is it just because it's probably the cheapest way to get into a Skyline these days, or?
I think part of it was just like these cars were there was at least at one point a lot of these cars,
Yeah.
and the condition has just varied very widely with them.
Mm.
Like there'll be some things that are just all of them will have like the broken odometer or something, but like there'll be other things condition wise, like some will just be rusting in the sills and that kind of thing. The person didn't arrest them quick enough. Others will be a bit cleaner on there. So many of them came automatic. The manual is more desirable, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's so many people who will, get a box out of something else, cut the brake pedal a little bit to make the room and do all that jazz to get you into, a changed up manual, that kind of stuff. I think part of that definitely has a lot to do with it. The other thing is there's probably a good deal of people in the market that the same way I am probably with the Sylvia is I recall I could get a Sylvia for $9,600,
Mhm.
and that was the cleanest one around.
Yeah.
So I'm not paying more than $9,600. I don't care if the one on car sales right now is 85 grand because he's got 400 and something kilowatts. I'm not paying more than that. So I think there's probably that crowd that'll specifically just buy the cheaper ones. And then there's, I guess, the we'll call it post-COVID crowd where you've got that little bit of extra money. You're happy to pay the higher end because I think they're just selling at all different levels. As Patrick said, if you keep looking, and you're lucky, you'll probably get a chance to nab one of the lower price ones.
Also, as well with I'm not with 31s as well. I think they've gone up. It's not, I don't really think it's the COVID. Like I know COVID's brought everything up. Let's we can't ignore that. But I feel like the main reason 31s have gone up is, I think, my opinion, is for two reasons. One, it's basically a cheap way to get into a VL if you can't afford one. It's pretty much the same car. And secondly, as well, it's people want to get into drifting. Drifting has become a very popular sport, as we all know. Like in motorsport, like every guy that gets into cars, I love cars, knows about drifting, cares about it, loves it, etc. And obviously, the go-to drift cars back in the days were just the Sylvias. You could pick up an S13 Thrash for or a clean one even for like $2,000 or whatever, and those were your go-to cars. As we all know, they're going up in price. You can't afford them. People don't want to. There's not much of them around. And what's now available for us to slide around and get into the drifting scene? Well, you've obviously got the 86 BRZs, but even they're too expensive. You won't be sliding them. And the next best option, I think people are just starting to catch into, the 31 Skylines. They slide easy. They've got a good motor. Parts are everywhere. Like people do 13 front ends on them for suspension. So I think that's started to. I think that's as well boosted. I think, especially with I noticed on TikTok, a lot of these TikTok trends and everything, they blow it up, and obviously it's a much wider audience than whereas YouTube or whatever, where people have to search for a specific car. I mean, TikTok, everyone's pretty much got it. So I feel like that's also spread the information. Like there's some guys in Sydney that made the Streeto films. Have you guys heard about them? I've seen them.
No, what are they?
Basically, it's a love letter to Japanese street drifting. So a bunch of guys in R31s, S13s, 180s, and JZXs, and just basically street drifting and everything. It's pretty sick. Like it's filmed all vintage and everything. But I feel like that as well, because it has such a big reach and it was very popular for a while. It still pretty is. 31s, obviously they see that they say fuck, 31s are cheap. If you can buy a manual 31 clean for like $5,000, that's the best way to start getting into drifting. So I think that's also a big reason why people see, now the time to gain traction. They want to pay $5,000. I can up mine up for an extra, $3 or $4,000, whatever it is. And if people really want it, they'll be willing to spend that money. So of course, we got the COVID tax, but I genuinely believe it's the popularity, especially in drifting, for those cars. And as well, like I said, it's a V. If you want a VL but you can't afford it, your next best option is a 31.
2 points, Patrick. We know that rolling chassis S15s are $50,000. And the second point is 31s and AU Falcons are the new drift pigs of the drift world.
Yep.
People are buying AU Falcons and just drifting them like crazy. So it's been really interesting to see that, because the AU was like the ugly child of the world, and now it's
It has such a large cult following. Like, all of a sudden, everyone wants an AU. Like, even all these YouTubers are like getting AU Falcons as drift cars. And it's like, shit.
I blame Rex Height for this entirely. Him and his squad have already picked up like 5 or 6 AU Falcons.
It's just some Rex H.
Yeah. Him and his like 5 or 6 gang of AU Falcons now. They'll just grab him, put a T5 in him, and then they're on their way. Which, like I said, once it's all about that. You want this for a sport that doesn't pay anything, and it ends up costing you money. So the ideal thing is to start as cheaply as you can. And now the R31s are kind of getting out of there. The AU's got to take their place. But the other aspect of the R31, I feel, is they were at their kind of bottom dollar for a number of years as well. Like before any of this, the fact that you could pick up a nice one for like $2,000, a really nice one, that sort of thing. They were at that bottom dollar point for a very, very long time. And once that kind of stabilizes, it eventually starts going up. It was similarly with my old WRX. Right when I paid for a big service on it, that was basically its like low point price. Because I bought it for about 11. I think the price came down to about 7 to 5. And now you can't touch them for 15. So, it's just that loop or bell curve, I guess you want to call it as well, where cars will hit that bottom dollar. I know when a few years back with Maddie's F6, I was looking at some F6s. There was like a spec RF6 for 17 grand. And I was like, well, that's actually a pretty good deal, but I don't know. And now they're like 45 grand.
45 grand. I know. And yeah, it's just, I mean, even on the topic of WRXs, GC8s, how low were they for a while, man? Like they were fucking, no one wanted a GC8. Like they was so low. Now you look on car sales all of a sudden, like people are asking 17, 20 grand. It's like, seriously? Like that
Dude,
much?
I could have bought a GC8 for like $2,000. Like I bought one with my brother. It needs we need to rebuild the motor and stuff. We still haven't picked it up. It's just been sitting there, but like at its lowest point. But GC8s are just stupid now. Like anything's pretty crazy in terms of price. I just think like earlier I was saying, like you're saying, guys were saying about Rex H and ruining AU Falcons.
It wasn't his fault. I just like throwing blame at people. It's a goof.
Well, he's going to ruin EF Falcons in a second with
I saw that.
So we have to get that guy on the show. I reckon we should
100%. Like he's had some pretty cool cars. I mean, the MR2 was pretty sick. He's got the Chaser. Obviously, he's mates with the S15, which I froth over because I know I can't afford them. But yeah, no hate on the guy. Like I think the guy's done great for himself, and he's doing well, and I respect that, and he's especially here, he's in Victoria like us.
Melbourne,
I always appreciate Melbourne, automotive content. The bigger, you can make groups and stuff. Like it's always.
Rex, if you're watching this, you got to come on the show, man. We need to talk more on your Falcon. Falcons.
It's funny. Out of all the cars we got to talk about, he's got like Chase and shit. We want to talk about his Falcons.
Like the
Chase is cool. Don't get me wrong. I love his Chaser. It's sick. Like I respect the manual swap and everything. 100%. It's sick car. I respect the build, but like the Falcons, the AU. He knows what the EF. I mean, like. We got to go back to our roots, mate. With your F6, my old BF. We gotta. It's traditional.
And now that he's chucking the gassy motor in the old Falcon, so I'll bring my e-gas as well. Like check it out,
Yeah.
We need to put a blow dryer to the side of your e-gas and then make 300 plus kilowatts and just be like, just chopping Golfs and GD and all those GDIs and stuff. And then we can just have like you look in a bog stock X taxi esque XT Falcon just smashing all these Golfs.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. See, I'd be happy to just slap an eBay turbo on there, tune it up as hard as it goes, and just blow the motor as well. Because I think my dad's DMAC is going to come in relatively soon, and we're still figuring out what to do with the Falcon. I'm like, look, there's a lake over there. You want to roll down there? We'll claim insurance on it, So I'm thinking, I'm like, maybe it is relatively clean, the car overall. Like somebody just wants it for like a big old turbo swap. It's the BF Mark II, so it's got the Typhoon rods. so you can make some solid power. So hit me up if you need an e-gas.
Hit your boy Alan Deep Singh. Hit us up on the page, and we'll we'll give you a link to a link to his car. But it's funny you say that. Like I was at the Wreckers today with Ed. We went to Centre Road Wreckers or Imlux as it's called now. Like that's on Ed's side of town. So I went over there, and we get there, and there's a couple of cars. Like they've always got cars out the front for sale, and Ed has bought a couple. I bought one with him, like the W123 a while ago. But today there was a really clean Forester that started and drove and sounded really well. Probably not enough money in it for us. And then there was a EL Falcon, just the GLI poverty pack, but it had 170,000 Ks. It was really straight and clean. We freaked out how nice it was. And we were having a look at the car, and it doesn't start because the battery's flat. So we went to get the jump pack, and the jump pack's flat. So we were just like, well, we'll give it a miss. But we bumped into some guys that were there, and these guys were like, oh yeah, they were checking out the Falcon with us, and they're like, yeah, we're just waiting for some mates to come past because we're going to do some stuff. I'm like, yeah, what are you doing? He's like, oh, we're going to pull barrows out, and I'm like, what do you mean pull barrows out? He's like, yeah, we're going to just get as many as we can, and then just because the guy I was speaking to, he does conversions, like barrow conversions on everything. And I was like, that's really cool. So he goes and buys like $100 barra and like bolts a turbo to it. He was telling me he had a AU with a T56, and he got a wrecker motor, just a petrol wrecker motor. It wasn't even a gas motor. Hooked the turbo to it, got valve float at about 300 kilowatts. Did valve springs, got 400 kilowatts. Like it's just like, and just drove the crap out of it and then enjoyed it. So. There's all people that are doing all sorts of things. So it's interesting that the people that you meet and I guess the people in the scene in with cars this side of town.
Definitely, I find it a bit hilarious. He's putting it like T56, a box that's probably worth more than an AU in the car itself. But hey, that's pretty cool. And yeah, with the Barra becoming a popular swap for everything, I'm not surprised that soon people will be putting barrows in almost anything and everything. So I mean, I think on Instagram a few days ago, I saw a VY or VZ Commodore, and the guy put an RB25 in it.
Oh, what? That's sick.
I thought it was pretty cool. So it's good to see this some change, and we're breaking out not just these standard typical swaps or modifications that people are experimenting with different engines and different chassis everywhere. So no, it was definitely cool to see. I've never seen it before.
Well, I was just gonna say like how interesting it was like when we bumped into those guys. Like, like we think of the car scene as like a close knit community, but it's so open. There is so many people doing all sorts of things that we have no idea what they're doing, and it's just like we bumped into these like four guys that they went there to pull like 4 or 5 barrows out of Falcon, because no one pulls barrows out because they never break, and they pull them out and they just convert them and do all sorts of stuff. It's pretty damn cool if you ask me. Like I found it pretty sick.
No, I respect the hustle they're on. Like, I think it's pretty cool. 100%. It's yeah.
I was like to him, because my first question when he said, "Oh, we're pulling barrows," I'm like, "Oh, we sending him to the States," and he was like, "I wish." He's like, because apparently you need a permit to send them to the States.
Really? A lot of like emissions or like asbestos or any of that crap.
I don't know. Like I haven't heard of that before, but it's interesting because it's kind of one of those, if I've never heard of, unless you need a permit to import. I mean, Alan might know about that. We are joined by Mr. Turbo Terry as well, Mr. Anthony Falk. How you doing, my friend?
Howdy, all. How you doing?
You're way too loud.
That'd be right.
Yeah, that's good to see you. In his lovely
kitchen.
Is
that any better, or is it still too loud?
It's pretty loud. You may want to check which one of your microphones are being used by the Zoom app. It may not be the intended ones. We'll take a short pause here.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah, dude.
Do you still miss your old Forester?
Yeah, I do actually. Why?
Yeah, because I kid you not, just right now, my mate just, and so this is live on the podcast, probably first time ever. Mate just won a car off the auction. He won a 05 to 2.5 XT manual wagon with 90, what was it? 93,000 Ks for 10 grand.
Wait, how much you pay? 10 grand.
10.6.
That's cheap with like under 100,000 Ks.
I know. I can't believe it. Literally just now. That's why if you didn't, you saw, I was just looking at my phone. I just couldn't believe it. He literally just sent me right just now. So, like, that would be good. And I'm definitely when he's picking that up, I'll be giving that car a good run for its money.
Absolutely, be fascinated. Like I miss my Forester. I spoke to my sister the other day, and obviously she's driving the hell out of it now. And
You're like, give it back.
yeah, I was half tempted to say, oh, I really miss it because it was just such a handy, practical car. Like you just chuck stuff in the back, you know, it just works. There's you know, I'm not worried if I scratch it or bump it because it's, you know, it's kind of that. Yeah, I see why they're really popular.
So you basically, if you want a WRX, but you want, you know, practicality, essentially, you know, is the 2-in-1, and I think they look pretty cool as well. I think they look
absolutely. I
sick.
completely agree. I reckon they look killer. Anthony, what's happening with you, my friend? Updates with you. We're going through updates before we get into the topics.
All right. Is the sound any better, or is it still terrible? All right. I'm just going to take out the Bluetooth headphone things and just go to. Give me a couple of seconds.
We will wait for you.
All right. Bluetooth has been disconnected. Is that any better, or is it still terrible?
Much better.
That's a lot better.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, going all right, guys. Same old chip. Just plodding along, working away. Terry's still doing its stuff, been serviced recently. No issues when it came to the engine mounts, apparently. So I got no idea what's going on with that bit of vibration that you get through it just sitting at idle. Other than that, no real updates on the cars. Just, yeah, still driving and just having the butthole clench a little bit more.
Yeah, we just lost you there, Anthony.
Please tell me he cut out for everyone at the same time where he said just having the butthole clenched. Excellent. That is we gotta save that. You know, add that into the highlight reel.
Perfect. All right. No updates really on the Terry other than it was serviced. Engine mount wasn't an issue, so whatever the vibration noise is which is going on, I don't know, it could just be something out of balance. Crown has paid for the rego, but still haven't driven that in a long time. Working away, still doing the usual sort of shit. And I had something else I said, but I completely forgot what I said. But
I believe
overall,
there's something about visiting a proctologist.
yes, that's right. And then other than just the normal sort of watching the lovely fuel prices increase to ridiculousness, and just having my butthole clenched a little bit tighter each time that it does.
It's disgusting. I wanted to talk about fuel prices with you guys today because we all drive, you know, ICE engines or ICE cars, and you know, I drove the Typhoon today, and it was a beautiful day for it. Took it out, you know, really enjoyed it, and then put some fuel in it, and it's $2.20 a liter for 98. And I went off to the next station, and it was $2.24. So I was just driving around. Cheapest I got was $2.18, I think it was, for 98. And I'm just like, what the actual hell? Why is? Can anybody explain to me the exact reason why fuel prices are going nuts? I get that it's the whole Russia, you know, Ukraine issues and all that stuff that's going on there, but like, you know, why are we copying it as bad as this?
So,
it's not just us. It's other places too. New Zealand's at about $3. I know
even the States are at $6 or $7 a gallon in certain spots.
Yeah.
It's because overall world global oil gallon price or barrel price is set by some countries in the Arabias, a conglomerate basically. They produce basically the most oil. They usually set the price, and because of what's going on, they set the global barrel price much higher. So even though we overall are still getting a steady supply of it, it's just because of the uncertainty, and other countries that may be getting a reduced supply, maybe starting to buy from the conglomerates. They're just raising the prices because they can. Like our supply is not actually threatened in any way, but because we still have to buy at the global rate, it's going to be expensive.
So
The old supply and demand.
Yeah, but like I don't understand, like if it's done by wherever it's getting done and sending it over here. Why are they? I don't understand how they can justify throwing the price up just because they can, because of inverted commas uncertainty, when it's got nothing to do with us or them. Like it makes no sense. Is it just greed, or is it just them just wanting to just say, oh, we'll just charge everybody more for a change?
All the above.
Probably, yeah. I think I agree on Anthony on that. I mean, at the end of the day, there's people in higher power who've got money. All they ever care about is what goes in their own pockets. So whatever they can get to get extra in their pocket, I think they'll do that. They really don't care. So it sucks. It really does. It's a shame, but hopefully sooner or later it won't stay like this forever and will drop back down a bit.
I think it's just going to be going more northward, to be honest. It's going to be a pain.
Yeah, I've got to buy myself an IPC quickly. Put in the back of the ute, fill it up as much as I can with 98, and then siphon that off as I need it.
What we got to do is do a Dominic Toretto and
start stealing fuel trucks. Apparently, fuel theft is at an all-time high at this point. Like
that doesn't surprise me at all.
Any pump that doesn't have pay at the pump or like prepay, people are just filling up and leaving.
Yeah, and I could see that happening too, dude. Because that's just more. Why the hell not?
Like if you have the capacity, obviously, to pay for your fuel and that sort of thing, and you're doing it, I'd have to condemn it. But it's one of those things where for a lot of people, fuel is just an absolute necessity, almost akin to food and water, because of the nature of whatever they're doing work-wise. So if you're in that situation and you need it and you're doing it, all power to you. I'm not going to hate. Sometimes you got to do it for family, as Dominic Toretto once.
Well, Anthony, obviously in your line of work, have you been hearing a bit more about petrol theft?
I don't have a front counter, so no.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care. It's when the car does a burnout, that's when he's there.
Exactly.
He's there with the batons out, place this little gun or knife there. It says officer down on the radio, Next thing you know, man.
There's been enough crazy stuff been going on the last couple of days, that's for sure. Lots of stabbings.
Next thing you know, a brown man like myself or Patrick is arrested.
Yeah, we're all seeing the Family Guy skit.
What was I going to say, guys? Now, moving on to the next bit of news before we get into car of the week.
We still haven't even done car updates, Matty. You start. What's up with you?
Oh, sorry. Car update.
What's broken? What's broken?
I apologize. Nothing's broken.
Don't lie to me.
As I said, I drove the. I drove the Typhoon today. Drove the LTD yesterday. Laser's good. Mercedes, I'm refusing to drive because I don't know it'll break if I drive it. What else?
See, eventually the other cars are going to run out of petrol. That's the best part about having multiple cars. You fill them all, quickly before the price goes up, and then you slowly drive them each, reducing the fuel, like just biding your time, hoping for the drop.
Except for the worst case of when
eventually it'll just be the Merc that's left, and then you have to get in it, and it's going to break down.
And I'm gonna be like, please work today, please. I beg of you, Mercedes, please show me your German engineering. And it would just be like, I'll show you German engineering, all right?
Show you German engineering. There's still fuel on the gauge, but the tank's empty.
Well, Anthony did have to rescue me that one time, didn't you, Mr. Falk?
He did.
What was that?
You did have to rescue me that one time from when I ran out of fuel in the Merc. So
yeah, Yeah, it was fair.
But yeah, no, nothing with me. Alan, what about you?
STI is going well, like I said. At this point, since Subaru has announced they're not doing any more STIs, I am just like, I probably should put this car away and just, keep stored up.
I was going to get to that point very shortly, but continue.
Yeah, well, because I haven't been present on the shows for a little while. Like the drive from from Melbourne to Canberra was pretty uneventful. I kept it under the limit, Didn't want to get I did. I really did.
Point to point says otherwise, mate.
No, it's on the way back that I speed. On the way to Canberra, there's no reason to speed. I'm not excited getting there. I'm excited coming home. I may or may not have dragged a Ram 1500. I don't know why the gentleman decided to drag, but he lurched his car forward a bit before the lighting went green. I was like, well, you're saying something, aren't you? And and then I heard the lazy V8 rumble and the front of his car lift a bit, but I was out of there. I was like, sorry, not today. I'm sure his lovely Ram had plenty of power, but that was a behemoth that he was, pushing it in. So, yeah, apart from that, the STI has been doing fine. The MX-5 sitting in the garage in Melbourne, sad, with the battery dead again. I trusted my parents to be able to charge it up or start the car, but they didn't either. So I'm 0 for 2 now on 2 batteries killed by separate family members. Maybe I'll try my uncle's house next. Park it there. See if he looks after the battery.
I'm not holding your breath.
Or you can just give it to me and I'll just drive the crap out of it. Boy, how does that sound?
Yeah, I mean, at least it'd be taken care of while it's being driven. I'd appreciate that. But yeah, I think that's about all the car updates. As I said, my dad's been pushing me. He's like, "Have you found somebody to buy the Falcon?" Or even he's like, "Have you talked to the people at Isuzu?" And I'm like, "Look, they said around April, latest June. Like, I can hit them up if you want, but I don't think they're gonna give me a different answer."
Yeah.
He's he's looking to get into his new car sooner rather than later.
He's getting a bit excited, isn't he?
He is.
Oh,
and he'll be much less excited when I say, "Hey, we can sell this car immediately for 10 grand profit."
You'd be like, all right, I can last with the Falcon a little bit more now.
Yeah, but sometimes you just want the car, and I think this is one of those situations.
That's fair.
That's fair. Yeah, absolutely.
Like if I can leverage the STI into getting me into a Nissan 400Z, that'd be something worth doing.
Well, I was going to say you could either do that, but now after Subaru today announced that there will be no more Subaru WRX STI, just a WRX, I think you got to keep your car, Mr. Singh. I think that car is a keeper, and I think it's something you should put away and hold on to.
Yeah, I hate the idea of completely just putting the car away and bringing it out like once every couple of months or something. The cars are all meant to be driven.
I agree.
And also not shown off, but at least there'd be certain individuals appreciate it, and then allowing other people to appreciate it. People that are into Subarus, that sort of thing, who maybe don't have the car but just would like to see one. Mm-hmm. That's I think an important thing to do. Like my car's not as desirable as other cars would be, but I've always kind of hated the idea of, especially people with more exotic cars, where we appreciate them for the marvel of engineering that they are, and just the I guess passion and spirit that's gone into making them, rather than the price tag. And those people are just there for the price tag, and they keep those cars hidden away.
Yeah, I agree. And like I don't mean putting it away as in putting it away for your car. I mean, I know you'll drive it, just like, but holding on to it, Alan, I think would be a wise move. It's last of the STIs, the last STI essentially, last of the EJs, last of everything about that. It's a special car. It's, for me, that's a really, really nice car, and I think it's something that's, I mean, it's probably going to hit its bottom value very soon, if that, and it's going to go back up, because I mean, if Evo 10 final editions are anything to go by, your car will be worth quite a bit. So
yeah, because I actually looked up even more recently before they announced this, because obviously there's still that demand of STI sales, and they weren't building anymore. Current used STIs were going for like 73 grand.
Wow, holy shit. Okay.
Crazy.
So, and I think one of them had like 25,000 Ks on it. So, I'm like, oh, that sounds all right. Again, not that interested in selling, but it's nice to know that extra little oomph of value.
Absolutely.
It's a strange time to be in, where cars, are being worth more after they've been taken off the line. Immediately.
Yeah, and they're also worth double the price when they got fuel in them.
Yeah.
At this
And one
point,
day that territory is going to hit that 20K mark.
absolutely.
Before we quickly move on, there's another thing I kind of found out. I'm not 100% sure, but from information I've been gathering, it's led me to believe the 2019 onwards models of the STIs, they were all allegedly given RA blocks.
What?
Yes. So, for those not in the know, the RA stands for record attempt. So, type RA is a type of or variant of the
EJ.
EJ that or car that was sold. And the later models allegedly they were all given the block, the type RA block. So if people were to put some extra power into them, they'd be much happier holding that power. Allegedly.
I think you should try it out.
Yeah.
It's only a head gasket.
It's only a head gasket, exactly.
Head gasket. That's the only way to find out, just by chucking 30-pounder boost in it. If it holds, it holds. If it doesn't, well, yeah, now you know.
Yeah, exactly that.
Well, if that is the case, that's actually pretty good. That's a bit of a bonus for you, Alan. But I just wanted to get you guys' opinion on the whole Subaru exiting the STI. Well, I mean that'll be the last STI, can't, unless they just make performance parts, and not a performance range. It's another one gone. Like, it's like Mazda with no MPS anymore. It's just like it's another real company that's pretty gone. Now, Patrick, I know you're a Nissan guy, but Nissan don't really do anything either. So, like, besides like Nismo on a 370, which is now obsolete.
Yeah, it's just. I think it's most companies are now trying to ditch that, like those performance sectors, like that either there isn't a market or they just don't see any profit from it, and probably try to go towards more EV, electric, hybrid type of stuff. So, well, I mean, we got Toyota still with the GR range, with the Supra, the Yaris, now the Corolla coming soon as well. So it's not like all companies have forgotten completely of it. Like, there's still a few there, but it's definitely, like, you can see it. It's definitely declining and they're starting to die out one by one, which is sad to see because, most of these iconic cars all around, from whether it's Japanese, American, Euro, whatever, like, these were like some of the most best cars to ever, grace basically mankind. So it's sad, especially now with STI, and then there's pretty much like a meme. It's basically like the STI logo saying, looking at the grave of the Evo, Mitsubishi saying, "I'll be joining you soon, brother." And it's just like, it's sad to think about all that rivalry and everything. Like, it's literally now coming to an end. Like, I generally thought STI would have still kept, even if they went fully electric, like that division would still remain. But
and I'm happy for that to happen. Like I mean, everyone's gone EV anyway. I'm happy for Subaru to keep STI as the top performance EV. Like the dual motor EV or whatever it is, or Toyota come out with Corolla EV GR and who else? Like Mitsubishi come back with Rally Art, but as for like a EV, it would be awesome to see. Like, at least they're showing some intent. Kind of, this is just like another nail in a coffin, not another nail in a coffin for enthusiasts, because, like, it's weird. Toyota walked away from it years ago. Now they're backing it with full force, and all the companies that we thought would never lose, like the Type R Hondas. I mean, the Civic Type R is like a great car, but the rest of their range is a bit. I don't know what these are anymore. Nissan, forget about it, unless you're going for a 370Z. or the new Z that's coming. The GDRs, I think they stopped selling the GDR now. You can't
Yeah,
you can get one.
they've stopped selling the GDR, so I think they're just gonna stick with which the Z platform. Now I've heard rumors and speculations about there'll be like a new Sylvia S16, whatever, but even if if they were to do it, it'd be like an electric car, and it wouldn't be like continue like with the Z, how you say it continues off kind of it from like the generation, whereas the Sylvia would be more like a Sylvia inspired type of car, is what I've read. So yeah, pretty much, the Skyline's gone, Sylvia's gone, and pretty much all you're left is just given just the Z car, and that won't stay long, I reckon, as well. Though I think I generally believe from Nissan that as much as sad it is, because I'm a Nissan fanboy, but I think that Z is going to be the last performance car, and then who knows what the future holds.
Like thinking about car companies, I mean, if without WRX STI, that's another Japanese manufacturer gone. So the only Japanese manufacturers with performance cars are Honda with the Civic Type R. Who else? Toyota with the Supra and the Corolla and Yaris. So that's 3 cars there. Nissan with the new Z. Subaru, they've got a WRX, but it's not. It's just like it gets beaten by hot hatches these days. So that's not really like, unless it's a WRX STI. So I mean, it's not really a hotted up version of their their top spec. I mean, who else does anything like from Japan like that we get anyway? Like there's not really a lot. That's Mitsubishi don't do anything anymore. Trying to think who else. That's pretty much it. Like it's really kind of sad. Like from there, that's from Japan. Now in terms of the American market, Ford still do a performance division, so we still get Fiesta, Focus, and Mustang, ST, and GT, and stuff like that. We also get that's pretty much the American performance cars that we get. Now European, we've still got AMG, and we've still got M and RS, and I guess VW do the Golf R's and stuff. But that's pretty much it. Like I mean, with Lexus, they've got like their F range, but I mean, thinking of anybody else, it's kind of like Hyundai with the i30N and i20N, but like I like what Hyundai's doing. They're showing they're kind of kicking off where Japan are leaving, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's all sounding about right.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. Like Alan, you're obviously our Subaru guy. You are a Subaru fanboy. You've bought a brand new Subaru STI. How does it make you feel to know that there will be no more after yours?
Like all the jokes aside about the increasing value, like actually relatively sad, because like I knew that I had the last of the EJs, and understood that they were going to go FA24 and in that sort of direction, and it was going to be what it was. And I was like, well, if that's the evolution then you make for the engine, that's fine. At least they'll still keep kind of that legacy going. Yes, it won't have the boxer rumble, but it's still flat 4. It's a new improved engine with certain improvements, and I'm sure there'll be power to be gained from them as well. It was a sad day when they stopped making Evos as well, because that was that legendary rivalry of Subaru and Mitsubishi. And just even now, again, as much as because I'm not planning on selling my car, as all jokes aside, again, unless somebody offers me real good money, everything's a sale for the right price. But I'm not seriously planning on selling it. So it's just sad when you think about it, that there won't be any more cars in the future. Having that extended lineup, going from the GC8s all the way to the VA, and then beyond, would be awesome. But now it's just, this is where it ends.
So there was so much talk about Subaru 2.4. They're going like have a 300 kilowatt AMG fighting the Subaru WRX STI. There was all this speculation, all this talk, and now they've officially come out and been like, nuts, middle finger, you're not getting it. You don't deserve it. Basically, see you later. I would have been fine. I wouldn't have cared if they made it a hybrid or an electric thing. As long as it was like a sick car, yeah, absolutely. But the fact that they've kind of just said no more, That's it. See you later. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. It's actually instead of going out with a bang, like they've gone out with a whimper, STI, and it's very very sad. Like I'm like at least give us something fun, But they've just no.
Maybe they saw the recent increases in the petrol prices, and they're like, we make these things run pig rich, so there's no chance. Like 300 kilowatts, that's going to be like 14 liters per 100 k's. People aren't going to be paying that.
Yeah.
And in all seriousness, that's probably something that the market has considered.
Absolutely. Like I was speaking to my brother yesterday about this same issue, but not the Subaru issue, but like the fuel issue. And even the 85, and he's like E85 is made from the ground, like it's made from like corn, like even that's gone nuts. So he was a bit annoyed about that, but it's just everything's just coming to a point. And I guess if you're Elon Musk or Lucid or any one of those up and coming EV companies, I would be licking my lips, chomping at the bit, because everybody's going to be like, well, that's the end of internal combustion. I'm not paying $2, $3 a liter for fuel. That's ridiculous. So I'm going to I'm going to basically get one of these cars and just be done with fuel.
I think the biggest issue that arises, again, it's usually the poorest individuals that suffer the most.
Absolutely.
They're more likely to be driving older, less fuel efficient cars. And, because I think that there's been quite a few people, enlightened individuals on the internet, that have said, just buy a Tesla. I'm like, oh, thank you. Thanks for that lovely advice. I'll just go down, pull a cool 60 grand out of my hip pocket and just, grab a Tesla. It's not that easy. Even if you did want one, you can't even get your hands on one for like 6-7 months. So, and the problem is now. So, yeah, maybe everyone start catching the bus.
I just feel like this is just such a weird time, like in the automotive space. Like I've never, like I know that the 70s oil crisis and stuff was a big issue, but like in terms of, I know history repeats itself, but in terms of like, where we are, we can't get cars. One, there's a shortage on parts and chips. Two, the wait times if we do get one are a year or more now. And three, the fuel prices are just nuts. So you can't get a cheap EV, anything decent really under 40 grand, 40, 50 grand. So it kind of leaves you with, well, it's just like a circle. We'll have to get us like a really cheap combustion engine to get me by. But even then, it's really not going to work. Like I don't know what to do. Like I don't really know what the answer is at this point, because it just doesn't feel like there's one.
I don't think anyone knows at this point. It's a hard and sticky situation. Like, who knows what it's just uncertainty, and that's what frightens me. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen, and can't prepare for it. You just got to go with it as it goes. So,
well, if history is a thing to take into account, like when the fuel crisis hit, especially in America, hit really hard. People went and bought the Civics and the smaller engine cars, and that's how the Japanese cars really started to take off. Now, this could be that second coming, if you know what I mean. But instead of buying those cars, we're going to be buying electric cars. But with BYD and stuff coming very shortly, that might make the electric cars a bit more attainable, and that might be the way that people can get into an electric car. But because like you said, Alan, like no one can afford just to pull 60 grand out of their ass and pay and buy a base model Tesla. You're just not going to do it. You just can't do it.
Not for everyday people.
No, God, no, absolutely not. If you want one, yeah, go for it. But like, if you can afford one, but for the most part, you can't. I mean, the average age of a car in the road, I think, in Australia is like 9 or 10 years old. So, it's going to take another 5 years for that to be pretty much electric heavy.
And again, as we said, if you're the type of person that can just be like, oh no, fuel prices are high, I'll buy an electric car. I don't think the fuel prices are bothering you that much.
Absolutely.
But it is. I do like the idea of there is also, I reckon, even now quickly, because there is that level of uncertainty of how long this is going to keep going. Smaller cars with nice fuel efficient engines are probably going to see a little bump as well in the second-hand market. See, if I had the MX here, I'd be pretty happy. That's getting that nice 7 liters per 100 Ks. And that's, that wasn't even me driving particularly economically. That was me driving as it is, which is weird when I see people on some of the Mazda pages I'm on complaining about getting only like 400 Ks to a tank or something, or 350 Ks to a tank. I'm thinking, are you always at red light? Like, even like you're just taking off, go to the shops, or you're specifically on the freeway, you're in like third or fourth, not even in fifth or sixth, just because you need that, extra red line juice. That's the only way I can see it being that terrible.
Well, like, how big is the tank in your MX?
I believe 48 liters.
48 liters. Okay, 48 liters by 7 liters or 8 liters per 100. What's that? That's like
should be over 600.
Over 600 Ks, right? Yeah, like at least. I mean, even if you're at 10 liters per 100, you're still getting 400 Ks. Like, I seriously doubt an MX-5 without being sitting on red line is going to get less than 400 Ks. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know what these people were doing, but they're complaining about fuel economy. And I'm like, either you check that your car's actually running right. Maybe it's your O2 sensor's not plugged in or something. But yeah, like having a nice economical car that I don't have access to, unfortunately, it is a nice option though. If you have that sort of option, again, the individuals hit by it the most will most likely not have that option.
Right.
So it's my heart definitely goes out to anyone that's really, really hard done right now.
Well, I put $50 of fuel in the Typhoon today, just like, and they only got me 22 liters of fuel. I'm like, this is nuts. Like this, I actually said to the lady, I'm like, this is disgusting. Like, what the hell is this? Like, it makes absolutely no sense, and it isn't fair. But just a real talk, guys. Do you reckon it's actually the fuel prices are gonna just keep going up, or do you reckon they're actually gonna come back down, or do you reckon that's
No.
it?
They're going to go up, mate. They're at least going to hit the 250 mark in the next couple of weeks, my guess. And I don't think it's going to go down from $2 for a long, long time, if ever.
I think it'll come down relatively quickly, but that relies on the Ukraine situation sorting most of itself out.
Yeah.
Because like the states have started upping the production. You can't up the production in a single day. It obviously takes several weeks to months to ramp up that production of oil, but they'll start doing that because, again, this is a global issue. People in like even relatively low cost of living areas in the States, they're having to shell out. I think I was doing the math. We're at the equivalency of about $6 a gallon right now, $6 a gallon if we were to use Australian dollars and change them over and stuff. So there are people at this point paying more than $6 a gallon in the States. So it's got to be something that's addressed. Like Anthony said, I do agree. It'll probably, for now, keep going up. We'll probably see it at $2.50, probably $2.75 for 98, and then hopefully when it's the situation, I'm assuming the situation will get sorted out in Ukraine. Russia doesn't seem to be, too stable right now either. I don't think they can keep this going as long as they thought they could. So at that point, I'd see there being that drop. I don't think it'll go down to like $1 or anything. I reckon it'll just go down to like 160.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to definitely keep an eye on that. But anyway, gentlemen.
Otherwise, again, I would not be surprised if we start seeing Fast and the Furious style heists on fuel trucks.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I start seeing like tons of cars without license plates. People just nicking plates to just go nick fuel because they just can't afford it.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, gentlemen, it is car of the week time. My favorite time of the week, where we discuss and battle it out to see who has the best car for under $10,000 dues.
That's gonna be me.
You're very confident, Alan, aren't you? You're a confident man.
You got to have confidence to win.
Well, if you're so confident, you can go first, buddy.
Fortune favors the bold, my friend. Fortune favors the bold. So we discussed. You want to get into a WRX? WRX is a bit too expensive. This is the next best thing. I present to you a 2003 Forester in manual for only $4,500.
Wow, it's an XT
Yeah.
manual.
It's got reg till July.
Mhm.
4 brand new tires and a tow bar. Not much more information has been given. We got an interior shot. Yeah, looks relatively clean.
Mhm.
A bit of wear on the driver's side as expected. Gear shifter looks nice and clean overall. I believe that's the original stereo.
Cheers.
So a very original car.
Mm.
So
Who are you
yeah,
trying to sell
front,
it? Who are you trying to sell this to, Ed?
front shot. Maybe if
Yeah.
he's watching. Once again, tow bar is present as promised.
That's promised.
A nice silver paint. Rims are looking real clean. Side profile. A shot of the lovely EJ. With a nice top mount intercooler. Needs a bit of a cleanup, but it looks very nice, clean, and original. You can see 220 on the clock, which is very average for a Subaru of this vintage.
Yeah.
They go up nicely as long as they're well taken care of. A shot of the back seats, again, in very good condition. I would say not very used. A lovely, incredibly sized boot for that utility, as you mentioned, Maddie, I think.
Mm.
You're mentioning that utility, yeah? It's got the best of both worlds, the power and the noise of the WRX, but also the utility of a larger car. It fits some big old doggos in the back, or a TV or something that you've stolen, or 4 or 5 jerry cans, because petrol's expensive now, and when you're stealing it, you better make it worth your while. And then we're back to the front.
Can I just say first and foremost, you're an arsehole because you've played to my weakness of Subaru Foresters. And secondly, this is actually a very good car.
Yeah, no, I like I said, $4,500. Working for brand new tired, Forester. It's hard to lose on this one.
SG,
And
yeah,
the worst thing is it's located in Queanbeyan, slightly outside of Canberra, so you might get stabbed on the way there.
What's up?
But
What do you mean, might? It's a certain thing.
the people of the northern suburbs are no strangers to getting stabbed. So that is mine. I think I'd be quite pleased, gentlemen. I look forward to winning today.
It is neat. It is neat. I'll give you that.
All right, Anthony, your turn.
Look, I've got a couple. I'm trying to narrow it down here. So
doesn't matter what you pick, Anthony. You're gonna be runner-up. So,
look, I don't
Patrick,
know
if you're
about
ready, you can present.
I am ready. Alan, that's a fantastic card. Don't get me wrong. But see, with the current petrol prices, you've gone another opposite. We're trying to save money here, and 4,500 is cheap. Don't get me wrong; it's very cheap. But we can always love you're spending your money on a car and have an extra, 9,300 left over. So what we've got over here is a 98 Mirage.
Yes.
For $700. Okay.
It's so cheap.
Wait. So runs and drives. That's all you need to know. We can stop it there. But we'll go for it. It's a manual, so a manual. So you got that sportiness. Has new fuel pump. Good to know. Good tires. No Reggie. Hey, don't worry about it. I know a guy. Located in sale, 700 firm. I reckon you could pick this up for $500. Have a look at this beast. You want to save on fuel? Oh, look no further.
Is that fading paint, sir, in that corner?
But all about saving money, yeah.
What's going on with that bumper over there? The front bumper.
What bumper? Yeah, that's what. Yeah, look at that, mate. Oh, beautiful. Look at that relatively nice interior, Bit of a vacuum,
bit of a Metro Trains interior, so you can't see the poo stains.
That's it, mate. Hey, but you know what? You'd be laughing, with the whereas in the Forester, you spend an arm and a leg on fuel every week. This, mate, you could piss in it and it will still run. So, mate, at the end of the day, I'm only looking out for the viewers here. So if you need a car and it's $700, you have 9,300 left over. What more do you want?
Mate, I'll tell you what, Patrick. For $700, that is actually pretty good. You're probably going to need to put another couple grand into it to get it on the road, I'd say. However, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Ks scares me because that makes me wonder how much Ks it's actually got. but it's got a full body kit and rims, and it looks like it's been lowered. So it actually looks
Mate,
like
that's
it's.
all you. Hey, and look,
Eh, come on,
look,
mate.
and
You
look,
know lower
runs
bench
and
stops.
drives. That's all you need to know.
Doesn't say well. It just says runs and
It
drives.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It just says runs and drives, and it's a new fuel pump. So the guy's looking out for you. So located in sales, $700. I mean, Bradley Bennett, you seem like a nice bloke. Yeah, definitely.
Wait. Could you go over his profile picture for a second? It says Vic Drift Sales. I'm not trusting this guy. He's been drifting this thing on back of his trays.
So you want to save fuel, you want to save money, you want to be smart, you want a nice daily, go and look no further, boys. So that's my car of the week, a 98 Mirage.
Actually, Patrick. To be fair, I like Mirages too, and I think that car is quite good. I think it's actually, it's the car we didn't want but we need. It's the car.
You know?
Yeah, no, look, I'll agree with that. It's the car we didn't want.
It's not the Heavy we wanted, but the Heavy
but
we needed.
like we mentioned, it's a petrol crisis going on, and for some people, that definitely would be the car of the week. That'd be the car of the year for them.
Maybe who
Oh,
knows?
they're like,
Car, that's it. So
Yeah, especially if you crash in that, you're not getting out of that. So it'd be the car of
I
your life.
only said the life was going to be long in the car.
To be fair, the car's in sale, so it's going to cost you about $700 to get there with fuel. So you're looking at theoretically $1,400, Patrick.
And then 700 back as well. So we're at 2,100 already. And then there's the $2.5 for roadworthy. And,
mate, it's got good tires, new fuel pump, runs and drives. That's
Look,
what
Runs and drives.
no reg and no roadworthy is a big big issue there.
yeah, and you'll be spending close to a whole rebuild for your EJ motor, your head gasket will blow you spend an arm and a leg for fuel.
Look,
So
let
mate,
the records
after
stay.
not even after a month of owning that Forester, mate, you're being 20 grand into that car. So
Let the record state. I've owned multiple EJs at this point without failures.
Multiple. Two. You've owned two, Alan.
That's it. Without failures.
That's still a multiple.
Alrighty. Mr. Turbo Terry has thrown down the gauntlet.
Look, I've got two that I'm narrowing it down between. So,
Hey, no, you got to pick one now.
I know.
We'll move to Maddie. We'll move to
I'm
Maddie
throwing
then.
it over to Maddie for the moment.
Well, I'll share my screen first. Okay, I will go first. Now, gentlemen, I like to do an introduction of my cars before I share it.
Get on with it.
What's my favorite era of cars? Like decade. What do you think my favorite decade of cars?
The 80s, clearly.
80s, early 90s.
No, I love the 80s. And Patrick in particular, he loves a Nissan. Now, what would I
80s Nissan. I'm smelling a piece of shit, gentlemen.
Now, is this one that we sent in our group that has only recently sold?
Well, no, it's not. I don't think it's sold. It's still up here. So I want to share my screen.
Because the one I was going to choose has only just sold, and I've pulled the pin on that one.
Does it start with 300?
No.
Okay,
No,
that's fine.
this one here was another one that was in our group chats, Matt. That was $3,000. I'll still share it.
This is a bit more. This is a 1986 300 ZX. It is the shit when you got pop-up headlights. When you've got it's already on club plate, so it looks like it's had some work at some point. 183,000 K. It's a Manuel, so it's a proper manual driver's car. Doesn't really have much information. It just says drives well and in good original immaculate condition. Which I mean, I don't know much I believe into that because the steering wheel's a bit different.
I am gonna put down $150 saying most things on that car don't work.
I'll agree with that, but it still has pop-up headlights.
I mean, dude, but it's got the original wheels. It's got, is it 193? 193,000 Ks.
It's been rewound a couple of times though.
It's been around the clock.
Hey, look at those seats. That's totally 193,000 Ks worth of wear.
Yeah, like the seats look fair. Like they look. I mean, look at the velour. Lots of velour died for that for the interior of this car. It's got all the 80s-ness that you need.
Someone tells me this car was in a flood and somebody's had to take up some upholstery.
It's all the car that you'd ever need.
Wait. Just a quick question. Yeah, you're going through 2 photos. Or 3 photos, basically.
There's only 4 photos of the car.
Doesn't inspire a heck of a lot of confidence.
To me, it inspires all the confidence.
Is there a photo of the back of the car at all?
No, No.
Yeah.
Don't look to the right.
Well, but mate, you don't need to look at the back because you'll be looking at the back anyway when you're leaving people from in your dust, mate. Like this
If
thing.
you're looking at the back, opening the car up and everything else when you've been left in their dust because the car's not working.
To be fair, it could it doesn't say if it's a 300ZX twin turbo or 300ZX turbo. It just says 300ZX. And I don't think it's a turbo because it doesn't have the scoop. However, it's still a 300ZX. It's still a manual. Still quite a rare old beast, which you don't really see many of. $9,900 dues
It's
Australian.
a lot of money.
No, it's not. For like
A lot of money for a car that says automatic transmission but then has a manual.
Well, here's the thing.
This ad is very much of questionable quality.
Well, no, here's the thing, Alan. It's even got cruise control. Look at that. There's a little cruise control.
I think you're going to get taken when you go to buy this car, and then they're going to pull all the money out of your wallet and then throw you in the boot, and hopefully drop you off somewhere in St Kilda.
I think this is because we all know we're just talking about earlier Japanese performance cars, and this is a thoroughbred. They're worth big money these days. Patrick, you know what? Don't get an S14. Get one of these because this is actually kind of cool.
And what gets me the most in the engine size, it's a 0.3 liter.
Yeah, and NA 300 ZX is not a thoroughbred sports car, Matty.
Just put the turbo motor in there. You'll be fine. Doesn't matter. It's all good.
And then you'd be going over the 10 grand limit, Matty.
Look at the thing. Look at the thing. Pop up headlights, Anthony. Come on, back me up here.
Actually, there's an issue right here.
Pop up.
Hang on. Can we stop right there? This car is club plate registered. Correct. Therefore, the overall on-road cost of this car is going to be more than 10 grand.
Well, no,
Maddie, you are disqualified, sir.
I'm not disqualified at all. You ideally go in and haggle, as Anthony says, and you get it for like $8,500. You put
that's hypotheticals. We've got cars with actual prices. You throwing down hypotheticals here, Matty.
But here we are. We got a couple of catches here because if we're talking about haggle prices, the amount of cars that I can come up with throws the whole game into a different situation of things.
The amount of cars you'll actually be able to buy are zero, but the ones you can come up with.
We never mentioned here the car has to be registered or in roadworthy state to be buying.
All right. It just gives you negative points overall.
$10,000, mate.
It's the understanding that it's going to cost you more.
You've got 10 grand to spend. Yeah, that doesn't mean that you don't have to spend any more. It means you could probably spend a lot more. But this is a thoroughbred. This is what Mike Brewer would say. Hold out your hand. You got yourself a quality motor. This is the qualitiest of quality cars that we've had tonight. This is. Look at it.
You say that.
4 photos not showing the rear of the car for a man that has way too many tabs open on his browser.
All right. I think we can move on from that because I don't think you can take too much more.
What are you trying to say about my tabs, Alan? What are you trying to say, my friend?
I'm just saying, looks a bit busy. You can open up a fresh window, and it doesn't, reveal the disorganization.
The difference would be is that all of his windows would be at the bottom as opposed to the top.
I've got nothing to hide, Alan. I've got nothing to hide, mate. I'm all good.
Anthony, what would you like to present?
All right. So
you've got us 2 cars. Do you want one or two?
You got to pick the one, and you got to stand by it.
I'm standing by my one, which is based on what Matt's sort of got here, because this fits all different categories for it. So initially, I was looking at about, competitor for the Barina, thinking about the economical times of things, but then I need to think about the practicality against the Forester. But then I also need the 80s that come into it too, which that just leads me to my third option. Well, not really my third option. It's actually my second option. So click on the Facebook link.
Yes, I'm on that link. Do I share my screen?
Share your screen. This is my choice here.
Somebody said something about the 80s and then lied.
Oh, wow.
99 E39 Touring. I like these.
We got the Touring.
528i Touring. Now, I've got a question, Anthony. It's parked on a boat ramp. Does that mean are they trying to say it's a bit of a boat and they want to push it in, or are they?
No, it's they saying it belongs in the ocean. The car's not worth much, and they were trying to do the insurance scam, but then the engine locked up, so they couldn't get it any
Oh,
further.
it's a red P plate up.
Again, look, I do understand. Yes, it's a red P plater for it, but we're not
Oh,
looking
what
at
the
about.
hell is that?
Oh,
What did they
That's
do
a-
to the
that's-
car, Anthony?
That's a terrible photo. That photo that's obviously
is-
had
they-
stuff done on.
They chose
Wait,
to put this photo.
wait. I don't know
somebody
why
put those
they-
decals on that car, took that photo, and
Yeah,
generally
so-
thought, "Wow, this is the sickest thing ever."
Exactly, which makes no sense. Because as it is like that on that photo there, that's what we're really looking at.
Okay.
So we've got a couple of combinations here. So we've got practicality of the wagon. We've got a 2.8 liter engine in here, so it's going to be a little bit more on the economical side of things. And just admittedly, the purple and the gold, it actually has a nice stance behind it. So you get your economy out of it. It's still under your 10 grand budget. You get your, well, in this instance here, it's a 90s generation, but I mean, you still get your older character behind it. So I mean,
Yeah, older
You got-
BMW character, but that none of it works.
Yeah, the electric.
we're not talking. We're not
You know,
talking.
you know, you
about-
know, you know why those
Doesn't
windows are down
work.
on those photos? Because they won't go
They
up.
don't go up. I know that, but that's not the point. End of the day, it still actually presents very well for what it is. For the price, it's very well priced for it all as well. It's actually had a price drop.
Yeah, it's
Um,
82.50.
Because nobody would buy it for that ridiculous price.
So wait, I'll read the description, right? It says, for sale is my one of two, to my knowledge, Mora E39 Tourings in Australia. I brought this car back in September and have daily driven it ever since. It has performed flawlessly. The car is in excellent mechanical condition with no warning lights or signs that you should be worried about. So it's got signs that possibly are an issue, but nothing you should be worried about.
Exactly.
I've been told that the cooling system has been overhauled, which is basically a BMW thing. She shifts smoothly through all the gears and still pulls hard for an old girl. Will come with rego 8 months and a roadworthy. Okay, so that's actually quite interesting.
Reg
Which
and roadworthy.
possibly sort out for the right price. Interior is in pretty good aside from the driver's seat, which does have a tear down in the center, but everything seems to be working. AC, radio, sunroof, built-in phone, cruise control, all the individual buttons. However, the roof does need some attention as the clear coat is peeling. There are no major dings, but it's a 22-year-old car, so very good. It's full got the M Sport front bar, original one included, full detail and paint correction, brand new battery, brand new alternator, just serviced, fresh coolant, new roadworthy tires. There you go. And there's your touring.
And again, touring and wagon, practical, economical, in that sort of categories of things. And it's still even got the original head unit setup going on in there.
That is true. That's I didn't expect to see that. That is kind of cool.
But let's remember, your car's a BMW. It's costing 9 grand, and you're gonna pay another.
We're not
damn,
talking about.
imagine to put
We're
that
not talking
through.
about that. Remember what Matthew threw out here.
Matt, you got a 9 grand Nissan. I love Nissans, but we know that car isn't going to cost you 9 grand. That thing is going to cost you your kidney. Alan, you're getting a Subaru. That's enough said. Like it's got a
That's the head
10%
gasket.
problem.
That's a head gasket.
There are
$100 Mirage. That's it. That's all you need to know. Runs and drives. Listen to the ad. Be economical. Be smart. That's it.
Runs and
Thank you very
drives.
much, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. To be fair, so let's run through them. So we've got a Forester XT for $4,500, which is actually pretty funny. We've got a $700 runs and drives Mitsubishi Mirage. We have also got possibly the best car here, or I think the best car here, the 300ZX. That it's mint. It looks great. It's very original except for the steering wheel. But from the 80s,
No rear shots.
no rear shots. Yes, Anthony. And we've got Anthony's touring E39 wagon 528i, which probably has everything wrong with it. But the guy's just been the first thing that's wrong with it was the P plate.
Also, it's
It
got
still
11.
has resin roadworthy.
It does 11.1
It's-
claimed liters per 100 k's. How's that economical?
It's the only car here that we've got advertised that is being sold with reg and roadworthy. Need I remind you guys?
No, that's no. It's not. It's roadworthy. It's roadworthy. Could possibly be sorted for the right price. Don't you misrepresent this car, this piece of shit.
All right. Well, to be fair,
You never buy anything that's P-Plater owned. That's rule number one.
That's rule number one. But rule number two is currently in the world pandemic and freaking before World War III, and if we need fuel, I think Patrick's car is the way to go because you're getting a Mirage that actually drives pretty well, to be honest with you. Fun little car. It's going to cost you nothing. It's going to run, as you said, Patrick, on piss. It'll run. It'll just work. It runs and drives. It'll work. Now, practicality wise, not good because it's okay, but not as good as the Forester and the E39, but not as much of a thoroughbred as my 300ZX. So I think they're your options, gentlemen. Where are you going, and where are you putting your hard-earned dollary dues, and why?
Patrick, let's hear you vote for your Mirage.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. Like, let's be real. Yeah, like if I'm gonna no. Let's be real, Matt. I love Nissans. You know that.
Yeah.
And I do love the 300, the Z30, Z31. Sorry, 300ZX. I think it's sick, beautiful car. It is. The twin turbos are sick. Awesome car, but it's an NA most likely, and it's a bit skeptical. And we're talking about fuel prices and everything. I mean, those V6s, man, like it's a big engine, yeah. The Mirage. Now you're saying about practicality, mate. In this day and era, man, like who cares about practicality, really? Like if we're talking
Patrick,
you said you guys like think small cars aren't practical. They are. For example, my Mazda. Yes, I know the Mazda is bigger than the Mirage. Hear me out. Don't chew my ear out. You know what I could do for Mazda? My mate needed 4 sets of tires for his VT Commodore. Fold all the seats down, stacked them like that, and all in a nice pattern. Beautiful, and there was plenty of headroom, plenty of space to spare. I'm sure on the Mirage you can even rip out a few seats because those back seats will be useless anyway, so there's no point. Just take them out, and you got a wagon.
You're disparaging the Euro car there. Nice, good. Also, Patrick, this is a terrible time. Utility matters. What if, one of those prepay or pay the pumps has a glitch and it's selling petrol for like 0.2 cents a litre, like that happened in Europe that one time? You want a car that you can put a 200 to 300 litre fuel cell in, like a Forester, and pump that shit up, and
Which
then
is sounding even more ideal in a Beamer, to be honest. But
no, you'll break that rear suspension. It's not good.
Still worth it. Doesn't matter. It still
anyway,
means I can get more into my cabin.
But you're standing by your convictions, which is good to see. What about you, Mr. Turbo Terry? You gonna vote for your P-Plater and BMW? You're really gonna do that? You disgrace yourself? He had to turn off his camera.
I can still. I didn't realize. I can still appreciate the touring that we got here. Again, yes, there's the flags of being a P-Plater car. I understand that. I can appreciate that. And yeah, every day of the week, normally it'd be the case. But at the same time, if you've got a touring, there's not very many of them around. Sacrifices have to be made. Foresters, yeah, they're still good. Still practical. Still head gasket. It still doesn't have the punch that it should. It's still going to be, what are they? Still like 11 seconds to 100 out of the Foresters these days?
No, like the XTs are like 6 and a bit seconds. They're actually pretty quick.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah,
because there was a couple of Foresters I went and checked out for my cousin not that long ago, and yeah, that was still like cheap. The quickest I could find, I think, was like 9 seconds to 100, and I was like, this is disappointing. But still, at the end of the day, head gasket. BMW electrics, 300. It's still 300, which you have no rear shots and is going to be flood damaged. Barina, though, is a Barina. There is no expectation on that thing.
The Mirage is where it's at, Anthony. The Mirage.
Exactly. The Mirage, there is no expectation. You see it. It's a piece of shit. You know it's a piece of shit.
But it's a piece of shit for $700. Just remember, runs and drives $700. Why are we arguing? Why are we having this conversation?
You know what?
And look, the only reason why this is coming in here is not for the car itself,
But for the fact that you save yourself $9,300, and it's going to have to be the Mirage.
Patrick, I'm going to give you $1,000. I want you to go buy that Mirage, and if you make it back, you keep the rest of the cash.
Deal.
Done.
I love that.
So it's only because in this day and age, for our crazy petrol prices, you need a car that is just going to run and drive, those exact words,
Runs and drives.
with no other expectation.
Jay, new fuel pump as well. Not bad.
Why did it need a fuel pump? I wonder.
Because somebody pissed
Mate,
me
you'll
off.
need a new head gasket soon, yeah? That's worse than a fuel pump.
Hey, right
I
now
think
it's
about the
fine.
cost behind that.
To be fair, the Mirage it runs and drives.
Yeah, he's gonna get towed for like $800 from sale. Once he steps out of
That
town.
Mirage will still outlast your STI, mate. Don't worry.
Go
about
buy
that.
it. Go buy it.
I will. I'll
you
message
make-
the guy. I'll go
You
pick
make
it
it
up
back, and
tomorrow.
I'll give you the rest of the cash. You will not make it back.
It's only 1 year off club permit anyway. Just
Yeah.
get it
If you don't make it back, you got to pay me the grand back, all of it, and you're responsible for the car at that point. You got to raise some stakes. It's not going to be just a goof.
I think what we do is we
I still
go
think
get
it's
the car.
worthwhile.
Patrick, I think we go get it. We 4G63 it, and then mate, it'll be one of the quickest things on the road.
You want an Evo hatchback? There you go. An Evo GSR drivetrain in that. Oh mate, you're buying an Evo for $700. Think of it as an Evo for
Alright.
$700.
This is turned into straight up fraud. It's like straight up fraud at this point. So Anthony, you're going with the
Evo.
I'm
the
going
Mirage?
with
The $700 Evo.
You're going into this fraud, yeah. All right,
You're
Matty,
gonna-
or Matty J, are you also partaking in this Faustian deal?
No, you tell me what you're going
No,
with.
you go first. I'm reserving judgment to the end.
So Patrick, what car have you gone with? Have you gone with
He's
the Mirage?
I'm
gone
going
for this-
for the $700 Evo, mate.
He's
That's
gone
what
for
I'm
the
going for.
fraud, just making it up as you
Mate,
go.
it's not fraud, yeah. It's called making business moves, yeah.
Yeah,
Fuel
like
prices,
go buy it,
not
go buy it.
great.
You make it back home, I'll give you $1,000.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell me for mate. If I buy it, mate, I can tell you right now, I buy it for $500 even. Yeah, I'm a Lebo, right? I'm from the northern suburbs. Yeah, I'm good with negotiations. Yeah,
You got to live stream the whole trip back.
I totally should.
Yeah,
totally
I gotta
should.
see you make it. You break down once, that's it. You lose.
break down, mate. Mate, Evos don't break down. Yeah, they do. Why do you think they keep beating Subaru and on WRC?
Is that the reason why they still exist?
Why do you think they retired earlier, bro? Because they want to give you a guy's chance to catch up.
Yes,
Catch
yes.
up with that status. So, you know.
To be
Hey,
fair,
hey, I want to make the
think
rules.
that car
mate.
would make it back. I think it would make it back on a new fuel pump. I reckon it'll make
I encourage it. I will pay the $1,000. Make it happen.
it. So we've got two for the Mirage. Now,
Matty J.
oh man, I don't know what to pick here because I really like the Forester because it's so original, it's so clean. But $700 is $700. It's kind of hard to pass up.
Fuel prices.
And the fuel prices at the moment are just cooked. Like I said, I put $50
And you're
down.
saving.
$700 for a fuel efficient Evo. That's all I'm going to say.
Mate, it's like I paid like
Fuel efficient at Evo. Look at this shit. Look at this fraud.
as I said, I put $50 and got 22 liters in my Typhoon today. And like $50 is
How
like
many times that would have filled up the Mirage?
mate, the Mirage would be filled up for like $10. It'd been done.
What do you mean?
Um,
Just sing two beers, piss in the Mirage, and you guess that's a full tank right there.
Oh god, I think I'm gonna have to do it. I think I'm gonna have to go to the Mirage.
That's it. That's it. That's all you need to know, Alan. I know you've lost already. Like there's no point, but I just want to hear your explanation and your mind reasoning behind on the judgment of your car of choice. I like to hear.
A wise man once said, if you can't beat him, join him. I'm voting for the Mirage.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
He's walked
There
off.
we go. The $700 Evo takes the win. $700
Now
Evo.
you have to go to
Fuel
sell,
efficient-
pick this car up,
Oh,
and you have to make it back in one piece, and then I'll pay you $1,000 on my honor. This is a Car Talk special challenge.
Dude, I think we should go get this car. Like, I actually legit think we should go get this car.
You got to live stream the whole thing. So the moment you start it up to take it home, you live stream it. If you break down once, you pay for it. If you make it back in one piece, done. I pay for the car, and I give you extra $300 for your troubles.
What we'll do is we'll buy like a 28-day permit thing for it, and we'll take some oil with us, and we'll take some water, and we'll just make sure it's got coolant in it, and that's it. We'll just drive it back. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that's all that matters. As long as what happens afterwards to the car, till whether it goes to the wreckers or becomes a race car, it's not my concern. But we'll bring it back, and if it's back in one piece,
done. Make it happen.
4G63. 4G. It's what
I'm not joking.
I
am not joking. You get this car and you make it back in one piece, I will pay you $1,000. I am not joking.
It will make it back.
I'll even put the money. I'll even put the money in escrow. Like, you need that to be done. We'll do it.
I think we need to have a poll with the people, and the people need to decide, because if the people want this, I think this needs to be the next event which goes on. Is going to have to be a live stream of the event, but only if the people want it.
Absolutely,
it's up to them. It's up to them at the end of the day. I know. I know I'll make it back. I have full confidence in it.
Mate,
I got faith in it.
Runs and drives. It will drive. It will run to drive home. That's how it's going to work.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, that is all that matters. Make it home in one piece, and you got the cash, boys.
Done. Let's message the guy now.
Yeah. I am deadly serious.
Will you take 500? Pick up tomorrow.
I'm deadly serious. All right.
Oh, love it. Oh,
well, mate, you can drive him down there. Do it.
Let's do it.
All right. I expect to see a live stream tomorrow, and I'll transfer the funds as you arrive to either Patrick's house or your house, Matty.
Oh, I love it. Sounds so good. Well, gentlemen, I think that's a podcast for tonight. I think we can end on
the challenge, on that bombshell.
On that bombshell of a $700. It's probably, to be honest, out of all those guys, it's the cheapest car and probably the most, how would you explain? Probably abused car out of the lot, but that's the car that wins. So, stranger things have happened, but that's pretty strange. So, well done, Patrick. Well done.
Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Can't wait to see you get there tomorrow. The odometer saying 99999. Boy, nature.
That, dude, the odometer probably won't be working, okay? But yeah, but to be fair though, I think everything else on that car would work.
Except for the engine.
Runs and drives.
Runs and drives. Oh, mate,
yeah. Well, they haven't told you.
Honest bloke, we're in like two, like,
What they haven't told you is they cut the floor out of the car and they're flintstoning it, which is why they mean it runs and they drives.
Hey, at least it's not going to break down then.
Yeah.
It's not broken.
Let's go get this car. I reckon it'll stick with the wheels too. I reckon it's a cool little car.
Yeah, you can probably just part it out and get your money back.
Absolutely.
Just take it straight to the wreckers. Come on.
No, those rims. Some person we live in the northern suburbs. Somebody wants those rims. They reckon they're fully sick.
Do you want some rims?
They reckon they're fully sick for their P-plater mobile. Is that a 4-bolt stud pattern?
Yeah.
I'll put them on the MX. I'll put them on the MX.
They're probably I think they're probably the same. Like they're 4x100. I think. Now.
Yeah. We'll go hard in the MX with those. So let's get some cheapy tires, do some burnouts.
Mate, they're already cheapy tires on there.
That's true.
We'll do some skids and she'll be right.
Yeah.
But go.
I'm going to probably leave you guys because I know you guys are ending up, but I've got work in the nice and early 9 o'clock on a 10-hour shift. So I'm going to love yous and leave yous.
All right.
Thanks for the show,
See you
mate.
later.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you, Alan, for tonight's show. It's been a good kickback. It's been good to get back in the kickback chair.
Definitely has been my pleasure, and like I said, I better see that car tomorrow.
We'll see.
Like and share.
And we'll talk about it on the Tuesday show. It'd be excellent,
Absolutely, it'd be amazing. Like and share our Facebook page, Car Talk, TORQ. Maybe Jay, if you missed any of our previous episodes, they're all up on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasting app. So if you can subscribe, rate, and review as well. Get us higher on those rankings, please. Also, check out our merch. Go to teespring.com and type in Car Talk Store. You can buy some of our t-shirts and merch there. We'll have to make a Mirage t-shirt. I think that's going to happen. And then we've also got our Patreon. So become a patron to our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Car Talk Podcast and be a patron to there. Car Luke, Mr. LMD Singh.
Well, like I said, it's a real uncertain time, and getting a car is getting harder than ever. So if you need a bit of help and somebody on your side versus the car dealers, hit up our good friend Rizzy Ross at carloop.com.au. He lets you know the best price to be paying for cars, especially in these uncertain times.
Absolutely. Thank you, gentlemen, and I'll see you next time.
Catch you later.